All right, good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. I was asked the question today, is this market untradeable? And I thought it was a really interesting question. And, had a little comment and debate about it and, talked about it for a little bit. And went and looked at some data, went and looked at some other periods, and came back to a conclusion where any market's tradable. Very tradable. Day trader kind of paradise right now, right? But things can whipsaw very quickly. There are a lot of whipsaws for day traders to speak of here. But is it untradeable? Depends on what you're trading. Really depends on what you're trading. If you're investing and you're looking to step in here or there, or you're day trading and willing to play up and down, or if you're just uber bearish and you're just riding with the bearish momentum of the market, with some short shares or a little bit of exposure in options, it's tradable. I was talking to one of my buddies earlier this week, and he's basically a perma bear, and always trading short. And he was complaining to me that it was hard as could be to trade short in this market. And most people don't think of that or think, hey, you know what, that's the case. But the velocity and sheer pace of the snapback rallies that come into play is just ferocious, and a lot of it's just knocking short-term short traders out. They're holding for that next move, and boom. I did turn on the TV a little bit today, and that's something I haven't done for a while. And really kind of gauge some of the tone and what people were saying and thinking, and just looking at you can tell a lot from their facial expressions and demeanor. There's a heck of a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of frustration out there from a lot of traders. And, this isn't anything brand new in the market. Market's been through periods like this. But when I look at from a challenge perspective, an option trading, short-term option trading standpoint, is it untradeable? No, it's tradable, but I think it's a lot more of a gamble, more than usual. Meaning, it's a worse gamble than going to Vegas and putting everything on red or on black, right? Red or black, it's 50-50. Well, when you're dealing with options, it's never 50-50, right? Stocks don't either go up or go down. They can go flat, and that's a very common characteristic, and especially when option prices are overvalued. So, your odds of just go buy a trade and hope it goes your way, 30% that it's going to go your way. And you know what? It may go your way, and now you got the decision, man, do I get out? What do I do? Holding, and if you hold, it may reverse on you, and all of that, it comes into play. And, so is it much more of a gamble than usual? Yeah, when a market is flushing 40 points and popping 40 points and doing that within a 1 hour span, right? It's not something where there's any kind of real price stability from a swing trader option standpoint there. Now, are there some individual opportunities that set up here and there? Yeah, there are. There absolutely are. And, some of them that have come into play I've been willing to step into, and others I've decided no. Right, and we talked about Bank of America earlier this week. I was able to play a little bit of that. It's one where I stepped into Facebook for the challenge, and some of that bad news kind of sliced my fingers off there with it. So it just puts a little bit of a different spin on the challenge here. But even some of the bullish signals that I got this morning, I wasn't willing to step in and and go and buy those here just yet, mainly because of where option values were, but also because, look, so far we just have not seen the bulls be able to hold anything. And even CSX this morning pushes above the 7-hour. All right, ready to go, and reverses back on down below the 7-hour. So, they're coming into play. We are seeing some of this action, but we're not seeing any of it hold here for the bulls at all. And, it is one where you say, well, just buy puts on a breakdown below the 7-hour. Yeah, okay, great. You go look at by the time you pay the spread on those, you're not making a heck of a whole lot, barring a multiple dollar drop or multiple percentage drop. There are those, they do exist, they are happening out there, as you see. So there is money to be had there if you're comfortable stepping into that risk reward situation. So there's not been much of a safe haven hold up here in the market. Utilities have gotten smacked this week. Big rally today, up $1.50 on the XLU, and boom, down 2% from the high very, very quickly. And so, going back to that question, is this market tradable? Any market is tradable. They're all tradable. There's always something that you could do. Are the odds in your favor? Well, from a day trader standpoint, with the right mechanisms, yes, absolutely. From a swing options trading, buy it, hold it for a couple days, not really. Not really. I don't think there's much where you can say, hey, the odds are in your favor. Yes, we could talk all the oversold we want. We could talk all the volume we want. We could talk about all the bearish metrics we want. We could talk about all of that. But the reality is, anyone using stops is going to get whipsawed out. And anyone not using stops, the risk is 100% there. And that is, that's the nature, that is the reality of this market. I could make the argument that options are more untradeable right now than they were the day after the flash crash. And, that's pretty damning, I think. Is it going to stay this way? No, it's not. It's not. In fact, it was interesting. One of the top hedge fund managers in the world, last night came out with some comments about the market and what he thought and, what would take place. And, with this market kind of going on this adjustment from, great growth to relatively low growth. And, he made the comment, it's going to be kind of a slog for a while. And, something that the market's not used to, where, it takes months for rebalance and for, revaluation of stocks, right? For example, a company that's going through this right now, this kind of rebalance, this revaluation, it's FedEx, right? It had found a valuation where investors were semi-comfortable with for quite some time. And, okay, now with this risk and that risk and maybe a little bit of a global slowdown, we get the sharp drop. But, what has to happen? Well, his argument is there needs to be kind of a slow slog here where the stock kind of, where these types of stocks, find their new valuation range. And that there's not going to be that positive catalyst to create a reversal here, but rather it's going to go through this kind of slog action, here, and that's from FedEx to Bank of America to we can name hundreds of stocks that are at risk for that type of potential. Any type of action like that. What we will see is option values really compress. We'll probably see, some consolidation ranges really kind of come into play. But it's one where, does that happen? Does the market tank another 20%? Does the market rally at 20% from here? You can find every argument out there made by key players, made by some of the smartest people in the market. Made by people who have predicted stuff in the past and have been right, and who have predicted stuff in the past and been wrong. It's all out there, right? It is absolutely all out there. And, I look at it from a trade standpoint and go, okay, you know what? I don't have to predict what's going to happen, right? I don't have to predict. I have suspicions, right? But I don't have to predict what's going to happen. I have to react to what's going to happen. And, I didn't quite react to some of the breakdowns, that occurred just because option values where they were. And then we got to oversold. And I said, all right, I'll take a little chance on some of the bounce. But, overall here, there's going to be a pretty hard, pretty swift bounce in this market. It's going to come. It's going to be a bounce where market participants are going, man, I wish I had the courage to step in down here, right? It's not going to be an easy ride up. It's not going to be something where everything, rallies and stuff like that. But I am strongly of the opinion and the assumption that the market returns and sees this 260 level on the S&P. And so right now for the challenge, I'm just kind of sitting back and going, okay, when do I have a sign that it's ready to make that move? And while we saw a bounce this morning, no, didn't get any real change in the metrics. We're seeing a little more sell-off this afternoon. Okay, fine. Right? Yes, do we have some bottoming volumes? Yeah, we do. We do. In fact, we're retesting yesterday's, volume lows. But that's not enough for me to say, oh, well, let me go and buy some incredibly overpriced options and, expect that bounce to happen right here, right now. There will be something that occurs. There will be some price action that happens where the fear of missing out to the upside steps in and we see a hard, swift bounce higher. And so far, this week, there is zero sign of it. There's zero sign. All there is bottoming volume oversold, but there's no sign of on any rally that the bulls want to take control here. Okay, so for me, that's kind of how I'm going to sit and kind of look at this puzzle and say, okay, when I get that, I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in, with what I have for the challenge. I'll be fairly aggressive and really look to make back the loss, the loss that's there with the challenge, and more than that, start to stack in some doubles here on the challenge, which is, to me, the most important thing. That we're often in doing that. Ultimately, is that bounce that comes in, is that going to be the market's now bullish forever and, 2019 is going to be up, 15% like Credit Suisse said yesterday, right? Probably not, right? It's probably going to be one of those bounces where we get up into here and then we see a sharp sell day or two that come into play, as investors who wish they had gotten out up here, use that rally to sell. And so that's what I'll be looking for. That's what I'll be looking to come into play. And, so far I don't see it today. I don't see any sign of it today. We still have 60 minutes left in the market, so I'm sure there'll be another 30 point or 30 so odd points of movement either down or to the upside, or maybe even both. The way the pattern on S&P futures looks, it does look like there's another breakdown today, and that'll probably be met with a little buying into the close, but I think a lot of that's just, more gamble than anything. One thing to keep in mind, when you go and you look at big sell-offs in the market or big rallies in the market, it is, I don't want to use the word common, but it happens fairly often to where options expiration marks the low or the high of that major move. Do we see that come into play? We could, right? But so far, no sign of it. We could start to see that, shape up here next week. Obviously, next week, the market hours are a little bit different. And I'm going to pull over here the holiday hours for the New York Stock Exchange. Okay. So here, 2018, basically for the Christmas holiday, Tuesday, the market is going to be closed, and that is that's what we will see. Now it has the 3 asterisks. So basically, what does that mean? It means the day before the market's going to close early. So basically, on Monday, the market's going to be open for 3 hours. Okay, it'll be open regular time, and it'll close 3.5 hours later. All right, at 1 o'clock Eastern. And so that's what we will see here as we kind of get into next week. So a very short trading session early Monday, and then market closed until Wednesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be normal hours, and then we get into the new year. And that week, Monday will be open, and then Tuesday will be closed for New Year's. So that'll be the holiday schedule. If you want to kind of check it out, all you have to do is type into Google NYSE holiday hours, and it'll take you right to this. Or you can just go to the New York Stock Exchange website. They have it there as well. So that'll be the schedule, and I'll be on Monday morning. Talk about where things are. If I don't see any kind of major changes happening, then I won't look to get into anything. But if we do, and I think there's a chance we could, then I will look to jump into something. But I'll just be jumping into something that. Thanks for hopping on. Have a great weekend. Hopefully your holiday plans are going well. Wish the best to you and your family, and we will talk to you on Monday. Take care.